So picture this. A medical researcher is up on stage, he's giving a big talk, he's found this new wonder drug for treating cancer in chickens, and the results, they're just incredible. He says, one-third of the chickens showed a complete cure. In another third, well, there was no effect at all, and the other chicken ran away.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. What on earth does a joke about a runaway chicken have to do with the stock market? Well, according to trading legend Mark Minervini, it has everything to do with it. You see, that missing chicken, it represents the incomplete data, the missing piece of the puzzle that causes most traders to fail again and again. Let's unpack why that runaway chicken is the perfect metaphor for the biggest mistake you could be making. All right, so section 1, trading in the dark. This really gets to the heart of the first and honestly, the biggest problem. Most traders are basically just stumbling around in the dark. They don't have the critical info they need to make smart, repeatable decisions. Minervini has this powerful analogy for it. It's like you're trying to fly a plane, but you have no instrument panel. None. You have no idea what your altitude is, no clue about your speed, or even what direction you're headed. You might not even be flying level. That's exactly what it's like to trade without knowing your own performance stats.
And just how bad is this problem? It's staggering. In his workshops, Minervini asks people, hey, raise your hand if you know your average gain, your average loss, and your win rate. And you know what? Consistently, fewer than 5% of the hands go up. Think about that. More than 95% of traders are just flying completely blind.
So here's the big takeaway. The key to getting better, it isn't some secret indicator or a hot tip from a guru. It's already there. It's sitting right in your brokerage account history. The most valuable, most actionable information you will ever find is a disciplined, honest analysis of your own results. It's the cold, hard truth of your trading habits. And that leads us straight to the solution. We need to stop treating trading like a gamble and start treating it like a science. And where does any good science start? With measurement. Minervini tells this great story about how he got into slot car racing as a hobby of all things. So the local champ at the slot car track, a guy named Rocky, told him years later that he knew Mark was serious from the second he walked through the door. And why? Because the very first thing Rocky saw was Mark holding a stopwatch. And what was in his other hand? A notebook. See, he wasn't just guessing and hoping for the best. He'd run 20 laps, log the times. Then he'd change the tires, run 20 more laps, and log those times. He'd try a different motor, run another 20 laps, and log those times. Every single adjustment was measured. Rocky saw that stopwatch and that notebook, and he knew, right then and there, this guy didn't come here to play around. This guy came to win. It wasn't about luck. It was about systematically finding a real edge by measuring absolutely everything. And this all boils down to a classic principle that you hear in business all the time, but it applies perfectly to trading. What gets measured gets managed. It's so simple but so profound. If you don't measure your performance, there is no way you can possibly manage it, let alone improve it. Measurement is step 1. It's the starting line for any real success. Okay, so what exactly should you be measuring? This is where Minervini gives us this brilliant framework he calls the trading triangle. A really good way to think about it is like the exposure triangle in photography. You've got to balance 3 things: ISO, aperture, shutter speed to get that perfect shot. It's the same idea here. The trading triangle is this perfectly balanced system of 3 core numbers. And when you put them all together, they tell you one simple thing. Do you, or do you not, have a mathematical edge in the market? Think of it like a 3-legged stool. If one leg is too short or too long, the whole thing just topples over. Well, the same thing is true for your trading strategy. So here they are, the 3 legs of the stool: your average win size, your average loss size, and your percentage of winning trades, or your win rate. Now, why these 3? Because they all work together. You could have a really low win rate, right? But if your wins are absolutely huge and your losses are tiny, you can still be wildly profitable. On the flip side, you could win 80% of the time, but if your few losses are catastrophic, you're still going to lose money. You have to know all 3 to see the real picture. So, how do you actually put the trading triangle into practice? Well, it starts with a tool that's probably already on your computer: a spreadsheet. This is where all that theory becomes a powerful, practical guide for every single decision you make. You have got to keep a spreadsheet of every single trade. And beyond the basics, you should track your biggest win and your biggest loss each month. And this next one, this is fascinating. Track the average holding time for your winners versus your losers. Because if you find out you're holding on to losing trades longer than your winning trades, that's a massive red flag that fear and hope are driving your decisions, not discipline. Now, as you log all your trades, you're going to start to see a pattern emerge. It's called a distribution curve. Just think of it as a picture of your trading performance. And the goal is to get a curve that's skewed to the right. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying you have a big pile of small, manageable losses on the left side and a long, beautiful tail of big winners stretching out to the right. It's a perfect visual of the golden rule. Cut your losses short and let your winners run. And to protect that left side of your curve, you have to define your wall. This is it. This is the absolute, non-negotiable maximum loss you will ever allow a single trade to reach. Maybe it's minus 10%, maybe it's less. Your goal is simple. No trade ever gets through the wall. It's your ultimate rule for preserving your capital.
Okay, check this out. This slide reveals a shocking truth about money management that just blows people's minds. You've got two traders, Larry and Stuart. They start with the same money, they make the exact same trades. Larry plays it safe, he doesn't reinvest his profits, and he ends up with a really nice gain. Stuart, though, he does what we're all told to do. He reinvests his profits. Compounding? You'd think he'd make way more money, right? Wrong. He gets wiped out. This is such a powerful reminder that you have to understand the math of your strategy, not just the trades themselves.
Here is an awesome psychological tool for managing your profits. Let's say you have a nice gain, but you're torn. Should you sell? Should you hold? Just sell half. This simple rule completely neutralizes regret. If the stock keeps climbing, you'll say, thank goodness I kept half. If it turns around and drops, you'll say, thank goodness I sold half. It's a total win-win for your grain. But remember, this only works for taking profits, never, ever for taking a loss. And that brings us to our final section, and honestly, it might be the most important piece of the entire puzzle. You can have the best trading system in the world, the most detailed spreadsheets ever created, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to your mindset. Minervini is a serious photographer, and he makes this point. Having a state-of-the-art camera doesn't automatically make you a great photographer. A super fast car won't make you a great driver. The gear is always secondary to the skill and the discipline of the person using it. The whole point of having good tools is to get rid of the excuse factor. And this is the core message of it all. The journey to becoming a super trader, it begins at the exact moment you stop blaming the market, you stop blaming your broker, you stop blaming bad luck, and you take 100% complete ownership of every single result, both the good and the bad. Let's end with this incredibly powerful quote from Mark Minervini. In the stock market, you can make money or you can make excuses, but you can't make both. It really presents a very clear choice, doesn't it? Every single day, with every single trade, you're deciding which one of those you're going to make. So I guess the real question to leave you with is this. What will your spreadsheet say about you? If you started today and you tracked everything with total, brutal honesty, what story would those numbers tell? Because that, right there, is where the real journey to becoming a better trader begins.